Welcome to another episode of How Did It Make Sense? And we've had quite a bit of a break, and that's because I haven't been able to find guests. And I've got one, Nat, who I met last weekend when we were in Belgium, in Antwerp, at Dive Expo. And it was like, right, we've got to have this call going, Nat. So welcome to this show. Nat, tell us who you are, what do you do? How did you get to where you are? And then where can people find you in the real world and the digital world? And then we can get into the storytelling, because I know that's what we both love doing. So, Nat, welcome.
Thanks a lot for having me and, talking about how things make sense, which sometimes you don't know how you get to some places. And when you think about them, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it comes from a long way. So, and I think in my life, it was exactly the same. So I'm originally from France. I do live in Montreal. By craft, I am a director of photography, a filmmaker, and then I became a scuba diver, technical diver, instructor, and explorer. So my main thing is really to explore in places where you don't have a clue of what you're gonna see. So not the places like in the ocean where everybody goes. I'm like, well, if I can see pictures, for me it's not that much of an interest, even if I still enjoy it. So I do a lot of Arctic dive, cave diving, wreck diving, and some places where you don't have a clue, but there are a lot of histories and stories in those places.
Absolutely
And
brilliant.
you can find me easily, on Facebook under my name, Nathalie Lasselin, Aquanat, and on my website, Aquanat. And in the world, well, it depends. It can be in Belgium, where we met, or in Australia, where we met years
Yeah.
ago, in Portugal. It always depends. If there's something interesting that haven't been documented, you can be sure that at some point you will find me there.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nat, for joining us. Yes, I mean, we started this conversation at Diving Talks last year in Lisbon, and you talked about an event. And it was like, I've got to have you on the conversation. And you've just been so busy around the world filming some pretty amazing things. So those who haven't been on this podcast before, the way that we do this is we tell this first story, and those first stories that we hear are the ones that we often see or hear on social media. We hear a little media report, and we see a little bit of a snip, and it might be of a video, it might be sort of 10, 30, a minute long. And invariably, it doesn't have the whole story. So Nat, tell us your first story, the one that would get people going, and the ones that would sort of would get the judgment flying.
Years ago, I did a project called Urban Water Odyssey. That was basically to dive from point A to point B alongside 44 miles, 70 kilometers. And I had a huge team, 5 different boats, 25 people, because of the body of water, the rapids, and all that. And we were pretty close to achieving our goal when suddenly it was nighttime. And I was, of course, diving with the full face, the headset, and I just hear come up, come up, come up really quickly. And the minute I get up to the surface, I got hit by a boat. But by the sound of it, I was, gee, this is my own boat. It's the pontoon, because the sound of the hull is not the same that another kind of boat. And I'm like, what are they doing? Why did they just hit me? And they are still pushing me. And I'm like, they're just crazy, because if I slide down alongside the hull, I mean, I'm going to have my legs in the propellers, and I could already see me in a wheelchair. And what is going on? And I was just telling them, I'm stuck under the boat. I'm stuck under the boat. And at some point, everything stopped. I came to the surface, and they were all looking at me with like big eyes. And I asked, like, what happened? And the answer was, well, there was a towboat coming towards us that we didn't see. And at the last moment, they asked me to come up so they could take me away of the path of that towboat. And they had to push me out of the path of it in order to basically not having me being killed or hit by that boat. So you're at that point, when you think about it, you're like, okay, wait a second. You're all there
You're
to,
professional
oh yeah,
mariners.
I mean,
Can't you see these boats coming?
yeah, it's kind of just simple, like, and among the team, I had doctors, I had, scientists, I had highly technical divers, I had, boat captains, several of them. I had two boats because it was the end of the dive. So I had the main boat, but I had a secondary boat just being there. So it's like, what were you doing? Just chatting amongst you, how can this happen? I nearly be killed. And to be honest, for a month, it was something that we had to overcome and speak about because some people were in shock. And
Yeah,
at the moment, I was okay and I wanted to finish the dive. Funny enough, maybe 2 or 3 months after the dive, I was writing the book about why I wanted to do that project. And I was just, sitting on my couch, just having a drink while I was writing. And suddenly, I was like this,
the trauma came
unable
out.
to breathe. And I was like, "Oh, what is going on?" And then I was like, "Oh, okay, now my body is reacting to what happened." Because I was, in that adrenaline. I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
to face everyone, the media, everything, talking about, I was so busy, but the moment you just slow down, then it's like your brain and your body just reprocess everything. And then it's like, oh, gee, maybe it would have been the last day. So that's the easy story,
The
like,
easiest to brilliant. And
yeah.
I think that first bit where you surface, it's like, really? What? And it's very hard to suppress that sort of emotion because you aren't aware of what's going on at that stage. And it's the same as any observer in a story as well. When we see things, we hear things, and we fill the gaps with what we think should be done by those professionals or by those in that operational environment. So tell us the big story then, Nat. So tell us the background story, the second story, where we start to explore all the sort of conflicts and tensions and the reality and how did it make sense for people to do what they did in that situation? You were very much blind at that stage. What's going on at the surface? So start wherever you need to in terms of time to create the story.
Well, in fact, the story started maybe a year and a half before the 2 days dive. When I had that project, I was
Hmm.
like, well, I want to do that dive, but I can't do it alone. I didn't have a clue about how long it was going to take me. And I was like, well, I need to have people that I trust,
Hmm.
people that are eager to participate in the expedition, but for the good reason.
Yeah.
So I put together a team, French speaking and English speaking. And I will not do that again.
What could possibly go wrong?
And most of the people, the French speaking people speak English. Um, the English speaking people understood a little bit of French, but not all.
Un
Uh,
vin, s'il vous plaît?
Voilà. And then I had people from Montreal, from Quebec, which is 300 kilometers away from Montreal. Some people from Ontario, which is another 300 kilometers away. And, everybody is busy. And because of the type of the body of water in the St. Lawrence River, I couldn't have one single big boat following me because
Hmm.
sometimes you've got shoals, you've got rapids, so it needs a different type of engine. So I had to have different teams. So I had three main teams with one supervisor on each team.
Mhm.
I wrote down something that thick about all the procedure.
Yeah, yeah.
I had someone who had to question all my decision and telling me, well, maybe you didn't think about this, you didn't think about that. So
That's
it was,
cool.
a
That's
year
good.
of what can go wrong. And it went from what should I eat? What kind of fin should I wear? What kind of backup fin should I have in case of some pressure at a specific part on my body? The dry suit, everything. And we had training with the divers so they were able to change all my gear on the water. We
Uh-huh.
had procedures so they could assess my awareness while I was on the water. So we had, a lot of training, rehearsal, rethinking. And for a year, we went through a lot.
So how long
Um,
was the dive expected to take then from entry until exit? I'm just thinking of the basic bodily functions as well. So you talked about nutrition and fluids, and I'm thinking urination and defecation is not going to be an easy thing to do either. So,
no, and I had three doctors on my team, a pharmacist. We had all kind of backup plan in case something go wrong. And
Mhm.
as you can hear me, there was a lot of emphasis on me, the diver,
Mhm.
because during preparation I was the expedition leader, kind
Mhm.
of, but the moment I hit the water and I go underwater, I'm just the diver,
Yeah, yeah, as it should be.
as it should be, which is all good.
Mhm.
At the same time, it's my own project. Is what I
You
mean.
and you like to be in control.
No, what I mean by that is that my level of commitment, my definition of danger,
Mhm.
my perception of danger is going to be different from yours.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
The commitment is unique from one person to the other one.
Yeah, yeah.
And what is pushing too much or maybe not enough.
Mhm.
And during the preparation, I even told my three supervisors, I said, listen, if I want to do something foolish and you don't agree, I give you the power
Mhm.
to take control on the expedition.
Cool. Good.
Yeah, which is really hard to do, to say maybe, and to do.
Yeah.
So we started the dive, thinking that basically everything was under control. And I dove at least nearly all the distance in checkout dive,
Okay, so individual steps to make sure that
yeah,
what the dives were like. Okay, that's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, and then look to build it all together.
Yeah, because I had to dive the rapids. I had to go underneath 9 bridges. One bridge was under construction, so it wasn't easy. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and we talked to the people. And in Montreal, just to let you know, it's not a place where divers go to do a dive. The only people who actually dive there is for construction, for
Commercial
the
divers,
harbor.
builders. Yeah,
Yeah. So the St. Lawrence River, at that portion of the St. Lawrence River, basically for most of the people, it's seen as something for the shipping channel. It's a
yeah,
shipping channel. So I don't have any priority.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but I talked with the captain of the harbor. They were
Hmm.
aware of the dive. I met them a couple of times months ahead. So, you think that everything is set, everything has been said. And I told to my team, each time you are doing something, if it's on the rebreather, because I had 3 different rebreather to
Hmm.
go from one to the other one, always need to have someone to back you up.
Cool. Good.
Yeah. So we had a lot of, like procedures
Yeah.
written on paper. So, but did all of them actually read it and memorized it? I don't know. I mean, you don't,
That's the workers imagine workers done piece. Absolutely.
you know. So at first, everything went all good, except one thing. And I was, during the preparation, I was like, I'm sure I forgot something. I don't know what, but there's
Chronic
always
unease. That's a good thing. Yeah.
something you didn't think about. And now I would, because of climate change. But back
Hmm.
then, I didn't think about that. We did the start of the dive 15th of September.
Hmm.
It was really warm, 28 Celsius
Wow.
on a Friday in September. If you have a boat, what do you do?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're going to be out. Yeah.
You're going to be out. So things started to mess around with me just after 1 hour of dive because we had too many boats.
Hmm.
So I had to get out of the channel in order to do the dive. So I
Hmm.
had to dive with the propeller through the aquatic plants, which slow me down
Yeah, yeah.
because of having the plants in the propellers,
Hmm. When you
slow
say propellers, you mean the DPV or
the
in the propeller of
DPV.
the boat? Okay. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
the DPV.
Yeah.
So the DPV, the battery of the DPV got used,
It's more
faster,
quickly. Yeah. Yeah.
more quickly. So your time of recharging becomes an issue.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
What, you
your
mean you didn't think about this, Natalie? Come on.
well, no, because when I did my proof of concept, 21 kilometers, I used 1.5 scooter, submerged the old silent submerged and the minus, the
Yeah,
small
yeah.
one. So I was, I've got 6 big scooters. So, and it's just 3 times the length.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I should be okay, but, no. So you see how things
Yeah.
started to, wow. Okay. So, and every team needed to change at a specific location,
Okay. Yeah.
not a specific time.
It was taking you longer to get to these places.
Exactly. And why it was a specific location? Because, we need that specific boat to cross the rapids.
Yeah.
So, and it's a smaller team, it's a smaller boat, it's not the same, blah, blah,
And the
blah.
access from the riverside and yeah, exactly.
And that. But one of the problem was that the first team were on the water from, I believe, 5 a.m. until midnight. And they were
Wow.
supposed to be out of the water around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. So then you're like, well, we're late. So that's why it was not a continuous dive, because my
Hmm.
supervisor told me, Nat, you need to 2 things. Either we cancel your project, end of the dive,
Hmm.
or you accept to come out of the water before you cross the rapids, because we cannot guarantee your safety
Yeah.
while diving the rapids at nighttime.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So I was not happy with
Hmm.
that. More specifically, that is my wife who took the decision and told it to me.
Hmm.
So you're like, okay, so you're telling me I cannot do my dive. It's my project.
But you've given them the permission.
I know, but they didn't have to use it. But you see what I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like the,
yeah,
the,
yeah,
the
yeah,
tension and how you see that. And then how you realize that, yeah, but it's just a dive. There's going to be long, but you're just like following the river, going with the flow.
yeah, yeah,
How complicated can it be? And this is important because I do believe that for some member of the team, they never really saw how complex
yeah.
it was going to be
Hmm.
and all the challenges. But still, I mean, so I got out of the water. I asked every team member, are they okay? Are they going to be there the following days? Are they eager to continue? And we had, we had 2 base camp where everybody could sleep. We had
Okay.
drivers to bring stuff and food from
Yeah.
one place to the other one. I mean, the logistic, we had the 2 cooks to make food for everyone. It was a big logistic. So next morning, I hit back in the water. Everything goes right. Everything is fine until noon, where we switch again the team. And then 2 things happen. First thing is that for some reason, someone gave me food but it was not a cold yogurt. It was a
Hmm.
pouch of yogurt that has been stayed in the heat.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah.
But I ate it anyway.
Yeah.
So after that, I wasn't able to eat properly again. But I was, that's
Yeah.
fine because I know how I can handle eating and thirst. So I'm all
Yeah.
good. Give me just like the kind of Gatorade and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a boost,
The electrolytes. Yeah. Yeah.
like electrolytes, the kind of stuff you drink while you run marathon or stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was, you know what, I'm fine. Of course, because of doing DPV for so many hours, it hurts everywhere. But I was doing hypnotherapy thing to make sure that I
Okay.
could shift the
Yeah.
pain and all that. But in their perspective, now they do think that I am in trouble
Hmm.
in the sense that they know that I will not eat completely properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pain is there. So, and I told them since the beginning, I will be the weakest point.
Hmm.
I will never say that again.
Hmm.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Uh, because it's not what happened. I wasn't the weakest.
Hmm.
But for me, I'm an expedition leader. I'm an instructor, and I don't want my student or my team seeing me as the one that nothing's gonna happen to her, and
Yeah.
we don't have to bother. I'm always like, even when I teach, I may not be part of the team, but have an eye on me. I could die in the
Yes.
water, so
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
have
Yeah. Totally.
always, and and I always have those conversations about how do you feel? Is all good in your life? Is all good at home? Is all good at work? Uh, and do you really want to be here? And why do you want to be here? Why do you want
Yeah.
to
What's your
participate?
motivation? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, always, always, always. And if someone tells me, you know what? No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just fine. No judgment, that's fine. So while we keep on going, so I can't eat anymore. And
Hmm.
then Saturday, the weather is so warm, so many boats, sea dew, marine traffic, everything that actually it's really slowed me down. And the captain of the harbor is giving kind of mixed communication about where I should be in the channel.
Okay. Yeah.
At some points, like, no, she should dive on the west side. No, on the other side. So it's a bit of a mixed up. And
It's not as easy to navigate underwater
I
with a
know
scooter than it is to be a boat on the surface.
exactly. And then depending of the kind of scooter you have, and the computer and the magnetic, sometimes your compass
Yeah. Yeah.
goes like this. So at some point, it was really messy. And I can
Hmm.
see the track of my GPS because I had a buoy at the surface with the
Yeah.
GPS. So they could see at all time roughly where
Yeah.
I was. So everything took forever. At some point, I was like, well, around 5, I'll be out of the water. Around 6. But then, no, second night. And we were never supposed to be in that section of the St. Lawrence River at night.
Okay. Yeah.
This is really important because that section of the St. Lawrence is a section of the big seaway.
Hmm.
The other
Lots
section,
of boats. Lots of big
lots of
boats.
boats and lots of big freighter,
Freighters.
like
Yeah. Freighters.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And tugs.
freighters,
Yeah.
lots of them. And it's nighttime.
Hmm.
And it's not a place where divers dive. So
Hmm.
my boat captains, who have all the experience and certification and all that, they don't drive boat in that place.
Yeah.
There was one of the 3 captain who knew that place
Hmm.
because he's more someone who has fun there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happened? It's a Saturday night. So you've got kind of a boat that people rent with all kind of lights around.
All right. Yeah. The party boats. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
party boat. So there were a couple of party boats. And the boat we had rented, that specific boat was the first safety boat
Hmm.
add also those lights around.
Okay.
So from outside, we may look like a party boat.
Yep.
Okay. So now we're like keep a couple of kilometers from the end of it, where it's dark. Of course, everybody is tired. They are looking at the flashing strobe on top of my buoy,
Yep.
knowing that, accident happened near home, kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, okay, we need to have an eye on that buoy,
So keeping an eye on you. Yeah.
on me, because I said I was going to be the weakest point and, don't
Yeah.
trust
Yeah.
me. I don't want you to trust me. I want you to check me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had two boats, and at the same time, you're a mixed feeling of, yes, we're going to make it. And it's not over yet. And so they were preparing the next DPV
Hmm.
for me to finish the dive. And on that part of the seaway, you have those green and red lights for navigation
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
the background,
The channel markers. Yeah.
the channel markers. But you know how they are, it's like, well, are they on the land? Where are they? Is it a buoy?
Yeah.
Is it on the land? It's honestly, it's
It's
not easy.
confusing.
It's really confusing. So because of that, because of all the party boats around, nobody saw that there was a moving green
Both.
and red light with what
And it's probably not moving very quickly either, which is an important piece. Yeah.
yeah, with maybe a tiny white light that was supposed to be on at the
Yeah.
top of the mast.
Yep.
Showing that, I'm not just like a party boat,
Marker boy. Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
am a commercial boat doing something. And what happened while everybody was busy calling Nat come up to the surface to change scooter,
Hmm.
part of the team having the gear ready to pass it to me, suddenly someone said, "Hey, there's a light." And then they realized, because the towboat
Hmm.
switched on their big light on the
This
mast,
for searchlight. Yeah.
the searchlight, that they were just coming towards us. And then, of course, I come up to the surface. I hit my boat, but what I didn't know and what happened, and it's where my team, and as I said, they saved my life.
Hmm.
Even if they made the mistake of not having someone at all time with the dedicated task of looking around,
Yeah.
we didn't have that. That's the huge mistake.
Hmm.
But at that moment, it was all hands on. So what happened? I hit the boat.
Hmm.
Someone grabbed my scooter by my tech frame.
Hmm.
The boat started pushing me out of the tugboat, so nobody's going to be hit.
Yeah.
But then, because of the pressure of water, I slide, so they couldn't
Hmm.
hold on me. A
Yeah.
second person hold my rebreather, while another person hold the leg of the person holding
To
me.
stop them falling. Yeah. To stop them falling in. Yeah.
So they were sure they were going to have me, and then they pushed me away out of the danger zone. And the minute it stopped, I was all shaken. And then a diver just jumped in the water, making sure I was able to breathe. Everything was fine, grabbing me so I
Hmm.
didn't have to hold the boat. And then I removed the part of my MK48,
Yeah.
and I spoke with them like, what happened? What's the problem? And then they explained to me, well, there was a boat, we didn't see it,
Hmm.
so that's why everything happened. And there was a mix of a lot of emotion, because wow, it could have been really, really bad, and at the same
Yeah.
time everyone was really on their game,
To
really
recover and fail
focused.
safely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, really focused to, we need this, we need this. And what is really unique for me is that everything has been recorded, because we had a film crew on the boat.
Yeah.
So then you can understand the sequence of a reaction
Hmm.
and why they could save the day,
Yeah.
because of not only their personality, but how everybody felt like a family during that expedition.
Hmm.
And despite the language, everybody speaking English, and everybody worked together.
Cool. Cool.
So for me, it's different thing. I mean, I couldn't rely on how to do that dive because it
Hmm.
has been done before. The fact that mainly we had divers, but divers who are also charter captain
Hmm.
um, in the choice of the team might have been one of the things. If I had a boat captain, not a diver at all,
Hmm.
maybe the focus will have been a bit different. So
And
for
and
me,
these are the yeah, and these are the sort of the counterfactuals that come out of I could have done this, maybe we should have done that. And it's understanding that, when you tell your story that there wasn't really supposed to be any nighttime operations. So
no,
the risk of ability to identify vessels at night, and as you were telling that story, you reminded me of a collision that happened probably about 3 years ago with the Helga Ingstad and I think it's the MV Sola in Norway. And the frigate ran or basically got hit by the tanker because it's moving really slowly, and it's very difficult to spot vessels when they're all lit up and they're not moving, especially sort of cross angles. So if
yeah,
you've got something called a blooming effect where something comes in quite close, and from the point of view from the tug's side, from their perspective, they're probably going, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, hang on, that's now got really big. Let's turn the searchlight on. That's not what we were expecting at all. So the perception of threat, of risk, is on both sides of
yeah.
the tug, as you're the party boat that's there, and you don't have the maneuverability, and your task loading and the inability to notice a moving vessel.
Yeah.
And actually, it's just that the save, because you've had the competence that allows you to solve that problem in the here and the now.
And what is really funny is the perception we can have depending of what we are doing in life.
Hmm.
For a captain of a boat or tug, all the other boats, they don't have the priority.
Yeah, yeah.
They are the priority, and you are
Move out
more
the way. Everybody moves out the way. Yeah.
need to move out of the way because they cannot slow down as efficiently
Yeah.
as
Well,
a
especially if they've
small
got
boat.
somebody behind them as well, because they are doing the tugging. So, yeah.
And but then the thing that is going on is like, this is our body of water. We are the boss. Not all of them, but some of them is like, the St. Lawrence River is for merchandise
Yeah.
boat, not like for fun.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
us do our job. We are so that again, and I gave a conference for the Harbor of Montreal, and
Mm,
I talk with them. It's like, the perception, the point of view is completely different. And we need to make sure we understand what is going on. And more specifically that we had conversation with the captain of the harbor. The thing is that at some point, the battery of the marine radio, uh, switched
died.
off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there was like, uh, kind of a space or time space during which no communication at all. So
Oh,
did they assume that we finished and we didn't say them to them?
yeah. Yeah.
Or they just forget about, oh yeah, there's a diver. We don't
Yeah.
know. And this was another issue. How come they didn't use a second way of communicating with the harbor?
Hmm.
But I mean, it's moving fast. You just,
Yeah.
you
Oh, totally.
can't
Totally.
stop.
And,
It's
and,
it's
and that
fun.
little piece about the battery then is why conversations like this are so important, because it's a dialogue that allows ideas to get triggered. So, that was an important piece of information, but you didn't tell it in your first, second story. But it's only that bit of, oh, yes, and we couldn't do this. And you say, well, actually, that's quite an important piece. And I would rationalize that as sitting there going, well, you didn't plan to take as long as you took.
Yeah,
your whole expedition was much longer. And it's that bit of, yeah, we planned this, it's okay. And it's very difficult for us to think as humans what the sort of the second order and third order effects might be. Oh yeah, we're running late. We need more food. We need more, sort of, it's going to take a little bit longer. The scooter's taking time up as well. But we don't necessarily think about the criticality because, hey, all we're doing is just floating down a river and we're just, hey, this is us. Yeah, yeah, okay, fine. We're actually, if everything had gone fine, did you need to know? If that tug hadn't been there, it wouldn't have been an issue that you needed to speak to the harbor.
yeah,
And then the harbor, and that was one of the bits that came out of the Instad solar collision, is the traffic control system weren't really aware of what was going on. So you've got an external body like this harbor captain who's providing a little bit of oversight, like air traffic control, really, sitting there going, uh, there's that vessel there, and there's that. Oh, I can see there's a collision. You two, do you know what's going on? But
and
they're missing those pictures.
yeah, and the thing is that in those kind of expedition, even if you have a good amount of members in the team, it's still task loading
Hmm.
because and we are not soldier.
Hmm.
We are not soldier, and we are
It doesn't
team
mean that
members.
soldiers are, they have limited cognitive capabilities too.
Yeah, but they are trained to do, you know, something
Yeah,
really specific and be focused on what they're doing, not looking at
yeah,
what the other is doing. The
yeah, yeah.
mindset is really different. And for me, I took a lot of time, assessing um, if people felt confident. And the thing I asked them is like, what is your strength? What is
Hmm.
your weakness? And why should I worried about you?
Hmm.
And I asked each of them in front of the other one. We had a big meeting at home
Hmm.
for each of them, and I told them about me.
Hmm.
Well, this is my project, this is my dream, but
Hmm.
this is what I think might be an issue,
Yeah.
and what is something that I know I can count on. And I'm really strong about that. And I ask every single one of them because for me, and even when I teach, it's so important to know what is the state of mind.
Hmm.
And are people being aware of what they can specifically do today
Hmm.
during that specific dive.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I do a lot of psychology and I became like kind of a coach, like pro
Hmm.
neurolinguistic, because not to coach people but to better understand what people are telling me,
Yeah,
why they do tell me that, and what does that exactly mean. The best I can understand it, because
yeah,
some
yeah.
people are like, why are you still saying me that? I mean, it's out of
Social pressure. Yeah.
but there's something there. But when we are in an expedition or on a clock, we need to do stuff and we don't have a lot
Yeah.
of time. It becomes really hard, and the minute we become emotional, for me, it's the beginning of failing.
Hmm.
We we can be emotional, but once it's done.
Yeah, yeah.
I always have the feeling, impression, or strong belief that if I leave myself led by emotion, my judgment is going to be affected. I will not think it straightforward, and then uh, I will not be able to respond positively to the proposition of someone else in the team
Hmm.
for wrong reason.
Yeah, yeah. No, no,
So
it makes total sense, and it's an interesting bit. We can't actually separate emotions away. There's a bunch of research that looks at, if you take the where somebody had some brain damage and impact the emotional part of the brain, and so they thought, brilliant, it will be a pure logical individual like Spock or Data in Star Trek. But actually, the person couldn't make any decisions
Hmm.
because they didn't have the sort of the values base, which is emotion, that
Yeah,
says this is the right thing to do. So
yeah,
it's that bit of, so how do I compartmentalize my fears, my uncertainties over there, and sit there and focus on this goal? And your bit has said to give the power to your team therefore becomes more critical, because you
yeah,
can then become so logically focused on your activity that you're not taking the other pieces into account. So,
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why it's so important to make the team as a family. And I did some dive with people that they won't be my best friends.
mhm,
There's one conversation we will not have. I did some deep dive in China with a French diver, and I mean we don't share the same value in life. However, on the water, I know I can count 100% on him
mhm,
and same thing around, because on that specific we are able to put aside the thing that we don't
yeah,
share and
mhm,
just put the emphasis on we are good to do this together,
yeah.
and the rest is doesn't
No, no,
belong
totally.
to this dive or day or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was a complex expedition, and I spend a lot of time trying to understand how I would do it differently. But
Mhm.
as you know, after it's so easy to say, "Oh yeah, but there was this." Yeah, of course. But at the end of the day, I'm really happy because despite what happened, the way they all reacted was just
And
phenomenal.
that's the bit, is we
That's
can
phenomenal.
never predict everything. So we need to be in a situation where we can fail safely, and it's
Yeah.
putting that team around you. So did it end up in the book, and is the book available?
Yeah, I talked about it in the book. It has been also in the book Close Calls.
Okay, yes,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's in there as well. It didn't make it to the film that we released because we did the film more about the science and why I wanted to do
Yeah.
dive, because I wanted to raise awareness towards our source of fresh
Mhm.
water and drinking water. But in the book, yes,
Cool.
and I always use it
Yeah, it's a great story. It's a
in
great piece
all
to
my,
say,
yeah,
yeah,
in all
awesome.
my lectures, because I've got the footage. I've got
Yeah, yeah,
the actual conversation from the DOTS radio, from their point of view and my point of view,
yeah,
because
yeah.
we recorded everything, and it's not every day that we can have
No,
that
not at
footage.
all. Not
And
at
then I
all.
can see how everyone reacted, and it was really
Put it all
interesting.
together.
Yeah. And the end of the day, honestly, I had to talk with every single person of the team, the one who were on the boat and
Mhm.
who actually was there,
Yeah, yeah.
just being witness, like the second boat, because there was
Yeah, yeah.
nothing you could do at that point, but they
Oh,
were
totally.
witness. So you just look at something that can be dramatic, but there's nothing you can do.
Out of control. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, totally.
So how do you deal with that? It's not an easy answer. And I remember there was one team member, and he was like, you put me in a stressful situation I wasn't ready for.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice really. So
Yeah.
interesting.
But
Interesting.
yeah, and that's why, when I told you about the level of commitment, why do you embark on a journey like that? Oh
Yeah.
yes, so fun, I want to be there, I will
What
be
if I die on this trip? What are you going to do then?
exactly. Yeah. And I did, other expedition, like, Manicouagan Reservoir.
Hmm.
And we before we did the deep dive, I said we were a team of 5 women, and I said, okay, we're gonna go on one of the island, sat down, and then we're gonna go through what if
Yeah.
we call the chopper, because I'm gonna go to the hyperbaric chamber and we're not sure I'm gonna make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are we going to do that? How are you going to handle the situation? And who are you going to call? And I said, okay, maybe it's going to be me, but maybe it's going to be any one of us. So
Yeah, yeah.
the same question to any one of us. Who is the
Cool.
first person we're going to call? And the thing that I really like about it is like, who is the last one? And
Yeah,
on the fifth of us, the last one to be called were the parents. You know, you can, and it was really funny. It's like, okay, so where are we going to call them? The minute we have like the answer, you're
yeah,
in chamber, you're all good, or you know, it's the end of the story, and there's nothing else to do.
yeah.
It was
So,
really interesting to know. Okay, so what is your level of relation and comfort? You know, towards the family or husband or friend. Are we gonna deal with
yeah,
the situation? And
totally.
it took maybe an hour and a half having that conversation, but it's so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the wet notes that we produce with the human diver, it says name, emergency contact, if not next of kin. And then there's the bit that says next of kin below. And it's that bit that actually, and I didn't know you were going to talk about that, but it's sitting here on the desk, is that fact that some people don't want to have somebody from the dive boat, you know, hi, Mrs. Jones. Yeah, this is John on the boat diving and John's not coming home, you know, and it's like, no, I want somebody else to do that conversation, not from there. So,
Yeah.
um, Nat, thank you very much. The wrap up piece now is a great story. Um, and you know, loads to be learned about resilience to me is this bit that says, how do you fail safely? And you've got to have the discussions around the failures that might happen. We can't, especially when we're operating this space, we can't design everything out. And I've just finished reading, or in the process of reading, a book called Beneficial Risk, and it's all about the outdoor education space, about hill walking, outward bound, diving, mountaineering. It's the value that's there, and it's that bit that says we're in a space where we have to work on resilience, we have to work on the preparation, because there is no way that we're going to get to that stage where we can micromanage. So, Nat, thank you for sharing that. The last piece then is, what's a book, a video, an article, or a TED talk, or anything that you'd recommend people to go and watch because it's had an influence on you and your perspective in life?
There's a lot of them. I read mostly in French,
I'll give
but
you two.
but you know, all the books from people who are doing expedition. It could be Mike Horn, it could be Bertrand Piccard, it could be all of those people, because it gives you really a good insight about the mindset.
Hmm.
For me, that's the game changer. It's really the mindset, on top of having the good gear, having the good preparation, having everything, you know, uh, mental, physical, and financial
Yeah.
safety and security. Those three L's. On top of that is like relating to what the other experience. And just a quick example that I found brilliant. At some point, Mike Horn, when he was doing one of the expedition in the Arctic, uh, he realized that they were going to miss food.
Hmm.
So they change the amount of hours in a day. Instead of
Okay.
24 hours, it was 30. So it's
Ah,
still 3 meals per day,
yeah,
but
yeah.
the day
Just
is
the
longer.
day's longer.
Yeah. And I do a lot of stuff in the Arctic when it's 24-hour
It
daylight.
doesn't matter. Yeah, yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter. So that's why I'm always about the
Wow.
mindset and how can you trick your brain, because you can so much trick your brain.
That's a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, and hypnology for me, and I read a lot of neurolinguistic stuff and hypnology, and because you can trick your brain not to lie to him, but to help you cope
It's
with certain
reframing.
situations.
Yeah, it's a reframing process. So
Exactly.
I will come to you and get those titles and authors, and we'll put them in the show notes. So Nat, thank you very much for your time, and great to see you again, even though we only saw you each other last week. But that's brilliant. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot, and that's a great thing you put together. Human factor, human diver is just excellent.
Thank you very much, Nat. Take care.
See you soon. Bye bye.